All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our webinars today. New design on online learning. And how are you guys today? I hope that you guys are doing well, doing good. And before we start our webinars today, it's gonna be so good if we started with the opening prayer. And now we will listen to the opening prayer from Kak Natalia from batch 2018. And for Kak Natalia, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Wira. Before we start our event today, let us pray. Our Father in heaven, thank you for blessing us today. At this time, we gathered here while doing and holding a webinar. We ask you to provide wisdom and participation during this event. Thank you, God. May you be with us from the beginning to the end of this event. Into your hands, we submit our activities at this event. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kak Natalia, for the opening prayer. And now, everyone, we will listen to the. But before that, please share the PPT first, the slide. Previous slide, please. Okay, next slide. Next slide, please. Right, everyone. Once again, I would like to welcome you guys to our webinars today, New Design for Online Learning, English Language Education Study Program, Faculty of Letters and Language, Universitas Kristen Indonesia. Next slide, please. Right, ladies and gentlemen, and now we will listen to the national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and all the participants are requested to be ready as long as the national anthem is played. Thank you.
Indonesia, universitas kita, pelambang ilmu dan budaya bangsa, turut membina pendidikan kita, bergerak maju membangun alam semesta, bekerja penuh kasih dan bakti, melayani bukan dilayani, abdi nusa dan bangsa. Universitas Kristen Indonesia, universitas kita, pelambang ilmu dan budaya bangsa, turut membina pendidikan kita, dan kami mahasiswa-mahasiswinya bersama mengejar ilmu dan cita-cita, mengabdi membina nusa negeri kita yang jaya.
All right, everyone. Now we will listen to the welcoming speech from the chairman of the committee, Andreas Yobel. Time is yours.
Okay, Wira, thank you. Good afternoon to all of us. And before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Andreas Yobel Hotman, as the chairman of the committee. I'm really thank you for all participants who are joined and coming to this event. And thank you to the speakers, Mem Lu Angelianawati and Mr. Parlindungan Pardede, for the who will give the presentation for us, and for all of participants today for join. Thank you, and I hope this seminar will going well and useful for us and adding new knowledge and insight about online learning. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas, for the welcoming speech and opening speech. And now we will listen to the welcoming speech from the head of English Language Education, Faculty of Letters and Languages, Universitas Kristen Indonesia, Sir Henricus Male M. Hum. But for today's webinar, will be represented by the Supervisor of Students Association of Language Education Study Program, Ms. Lu Angelianawati, MPD. For Ms. Lu, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, MC. First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and shalom. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. My warmest greetings to you all. And the honorable lecturers, in this case, Bapak Parlindungan Pardede M. Hum, and all lecturers of English Language Education Study Program, students of English Language Education Study Program, and all participants. As I see here the alumni, and then as well, thank you so much for joining us and welcome. On behalf of the head of English Language Education Study Program, Bapak Henricus Male M. Hum, who are not able to join us due to official duty, it's my great privilege and sincere pleasure to address you all and welcome you in this webinar. Which topic for today's webinar is about new design of online learning, and this is organized by the Student Association of English Language Education Study Program, Faculty of Letters and Languages, Universitas Kristen Indonesia. And as we know that we are currently in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic, and we are facing new normal life, new habits, and then online environment everywhere, and even virtual meeting with family, with colleges, and can be in the daily lives and school lives or college lives. And of course, virtual mode learning environment become the only options recently, and we are experiencing online learning itself. So I'm very grateful to everyone for helping us. Helping us in adjusting this kind of new environment by utilizing virtual technologies to support learning, namely in English language learning. And especially thank you so much for supporting and joining this webinar. And at the same time, we are keep on developing virtual learning modes and then online learning atmosphere in our language, English language study program. So I would like to thank all lecturers for the support, and then thank you so much for the time due to this activity, and then thanks to everyone and especially the committee. And without further ado, herewith I open the webinar officially on new design in online learning. And thank you for joining us today, everyone. I think that's all. I hand over to the MC. MC, floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Lu Angelina Wati MPD, for the opening speech and official opening. So once again, I would like to say, how are you guys? I hope you are doing well. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Please let me introduce myself before we next into the main event. My name is Wiradiu Silitonga and I'm from batch 2019. And today's I'm gonna be the moderator and the MC also of today's webinar on new design on online learning. And I'm very pleased to see you guys here and welcome all of you guys. And for your information, that there are two speakers, our invited speakers for today's webinar on new design on online learning English language education, Faculty of Letters and Languages, Universitas Kristen Indonesia. Our first invited speakers is Memlu Angelianawati MPD, and the second invited speakers is Ser Perlindungan Pardede Home. And the first speaker is given 25 minutes for sharing their insight, and the second speaker is given 30 minutes for sharing their insight. The question and answer session will be open at the end. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin. Please make sure that you guys have a good connection, that you can join this session until the end. And please also make sure that your microphone is mute when our invited speakers share their insight. If you have a question regarding to the topic, please write it on the Zoom chat, that the question will be directed to the presenters. So without further ado, I would like to welcome the first invited speakers, Miss Lu Angelianawati M. Home. Before Miss Lu Angelianawati MPD, share her experience, I'd like to read the brief introduction about her taken from her CV. So, Miss Lu Angelianawati MPD is the faculty member of English Language Education, Department of Universitas Kristen Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia. She has experience teaching English for specific purpose, ASP, since 2006 in five-star hotel, training institutions, and governmental office. She has been teaching in higher education, namely in English Language Education Study Program, Universitas Kristen Indonesia since 2014. Major subjects she has taught include teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL, language assessment, English literature, curriculum and material development, and English for specific purpose, ESP. Her scholarly research interests covers foreign language teaching and learning, language assessment, and ICT-based language learning. That's a brief introduction about Ms. Lu Angelianawati MPD. Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome Ms. Lu Angelina Wati MPD. Ms. Lu, time is yours. Sorry, Miss, you're still mute.
Well, I'm back again. Thank you. So now I have different role. So for now, I'm going to share ideas or having a discussion with you all regarding to new design on online learning. And now I will share the screen this way. So first of all, I will extend my gratitude to be invited to share ideas regarding to designing, in the context of designing of online learning. And in this first session, we are going to fresh up the current online learning. As you know that designing for the online environment is a kind of complex thing. Yeah, it's not only talking about online, being online, but there are certain preparation that should be maintained. So it provides us with unique challenges, a lot of challenges, of course, and technological glitches, but it also provides us and open a world of exciting possibilities to engage students in language learning especially, or in learning in general. And in order to make it successful, of course, a teacher, educators, or let's say practitioners in education have to design it very well in order to make it successful, in order to achieve the learning outcomes. As you know, every course has certain outcomes. Yeah. So this is the topic for today. My first topic, this is a designing online learning. And next, what do you understand about online learning? Especially online course design, because we talk about designing online learning means we are going to do on a kind of, or we talk about online course design. So what is online course design? So when we talk about online course design, is more than transferring content from online or replicating face-to-face classroom session. It's not like that. It's not as simple as that. Actually, it involves the process of redesigning the content into the context of online environment. And then afterwards, rethinking of course goals and about what about the assessment, the appropriate assessment, including the learning experiences that we expect from the students, and then how to integrate technology intentionally to achieve certain objectives. And then even we put the structures and then supports, resources and everything to promote self-directed learning. Because when we talk about online course, or let's say virtual environment, we talk about self-directed learning because we direct the students to do it themselves. Yeah. And then when we talk about developing or shaping educational experience, there are certain elements that should be put into considerations. There are three interdependent elements in shaping educational experiences within online learning. And so the first one is social presence, according to Garrison, yeah, social presence, and then cognitive presence, and afterwards facilitatory presence. So in this case, social presence means that there should be communication channel which should be maintained by the teachers, yeah, in order to enhance the less spontaneous. As you know, one challenge in online learning is that we lost the spontaneous student-student interaction and even student-teacher interaction. Many students remain silent in the classroom or in the virtual meeting, just no question or no response, or just slow response and that one. So social presence should be maintained in order to make it successful, to achieve goals in online learning. And then how to do it, we need to talk further about that. And then the next one, cognitive presence. When we talk about cognitive presence, it's talking about what kind of consideration that should be taken by the teacher. So the teacher should think about the students' preparedness to take part in online learning experience. So how to provide students with background knowledge, or how to shape their understanding, or how to promote their cognition. And then the next one is the facilitatory presence. It includes instructional design, discourse facilitation, and direct instruction. So when we talk about teaching and learning activities, maybe for the teaching section, you can see here that this is just one element. There are certain elements, there are 3 elements in order to make it well balanced, yeah, to make it the online learning successful. Next, let me share to you the major characteristic of online course. So there are 5 characters. The first one is shift in faculty role. So the faculty role shift to increase coaching, guiding, and mentoring. And then the learning activity, or the teaching and learning, in this case, there is an active learning. Learners are more active in directing and choosing their own learning experiences. That's a successful online course. So if you are going to design an online course, you have to think about what kind of things, what should you do in order to make this happen, active learning. And then the next one, online course provide flexibility. So online course providing content resources which are flexible and infinite. And then afterwards, the next character is that asynchronous and synchronous interaction. So the learning environment for gathering and then dialogue are mostly asynchronous. But of course, there are occasional synchronous meetings. But in certain ways, it can be holistically, or all the time in asynchronous and then all the time in synchronous, or make it hybrid. So you blend both synchronous and synchronous, asynchronous and asynchronous in certain portions. And then the next one is about ongoing assessment. So in online course, the most appropriate assessment to be done is using ongoing assessment, due to there is a process of learning in which it implements self-directed learning. So how do we know that the students achieve the goals? It is suggested that the assessment should be ongoing one. And then next, we talk about steps to design your online learning. So what should be done in order to develop or to design your online learning? So in the very beginning, you have to plan yourself what kind of online learning that you would like to develop. And then, since the very beginning, you need to decide, you need to position yourself that you are going to do online learning. And then afterwards, you review the existing syllabus. Every course has a syllabus, especially for either for public schools, elementary, secondary, tertiary levels. And then the syllabus should be reviewed. Which one should be extended, which one should be eliminated, which one should be extended, or which one should be expanded. Yeah, you need to review that one and make sure that it can be done or implemented in the context of online learning. And then the next one, when we talk about structure and then the content of your course. So you have to select what is the best content for your online learning. For example, you have a course, English course or general English course, and then in this case, you have to select what kind of content or how should we structure or what kind of step-by-step activities within the lesson. So you need to rethink about it, about the content to be put into your course or your lesson. And then the next one is reconfigure course format. When I say reconfigure course format, here is that, as you know, course format can be divided into three in general. Yeah. So the first one is asynchronous, and then synchronous or blend of the two. So in a synchronous online format, you and your students are all online at the same time. In synchronous, yeah. And then there will be an interaction, and then of course schedule meeting. Afterwards, the technologies used in a synchronous classroom include video conferencing, live chat, in which those technologies provide you an opportunities, I mean both the teacher and the students, to have a communication interactively. Even it support the social experience and then the opportunity to address question directly, I mean in the real time. That's synchronous. Meanwhile, for asynchronous one, asynchronous online format, students engage the course material, and then students should complete tasks or activities and then doing assignment. And then afterwards, of course, this kind of format provide the students time. I mean, provide the student the flexibility and control over when and where they engage with the learning process. For example, you assign your students in the format of asynchronous, and then so you let the student choose themselves the best time for them, the most convenient time or place to do the task or the assignment given. But when you make it into a synchronous format, means that it should be in a real time. It should be done at that moment. That's it. And then what about blended? I mean blending both synchronous and asynchronous one. So we can take the benefits of each format. And then because those two formats provide opportunities, good opportunities for learning. So by taking the strengths of those two formats, it will be good in in the learning context. And then the next step is that reimagine the assessment. So it is suggested that the instructor, the teacher, or the lecturer even provide multiple options of assessment. I mean, variable, various type of assessment. Of course, it depends on the learning objectives or what competencies that should be developed. That's it. So even opportunities for self-assessment should be developed, because as refer back to the previous statement, that is self-directed learning exposed to the students in the context of online learning. And then that's about reimagine the assessment. It's not the time for having multiple choice type tests all the time. No, we need to change the paradigm. We need to make sure that the students obtain the competencies. That's it. Okay, that's about reimagine the assessment. And then next one. redefine classroom community and student engagement for online. So this relates to the importance of social presence. We have discussed about social presence as a key element, one of the key elements in order to support, in order to shape learning experience in online atmosphere. So in this case, communication should be there, yeah, and then interactive interaction, either student to student or students or to the teacher or teacher to students, there must be there. And then the next one, so in other words, the selection of teaching strategies, the selection of teaching media, the selection of everything should be able to develop this kind of engagement. And then the next one is about selecting technology and digital tools based on online teaching and learning needs. So in this case, in other words, practitioners or educators should have a digital literacy, should be adaptable to the advancement of technologies, about new softwares, new applications, or let's say eager to learn or to operate, as long as it helps you to do online teaching and it fulfill the learning needs. So of course here we should be very selective and considerate. And when we talk about these 7 steps to design your online learning, there are 2 key points that should be put into consideration by everyone. To action that should be put into action, of course. The first one is reflect on your current practice. As you know that, for example, you are in the transition, for example, from face-to-face to online learning, and as we know, July next month started to be face-to-face again, even though there is restricted rules that should be followed. But of course, it's a kind of transition time for us. So in this case, when you are going to design your online learning, you have to reflect on your current practice. Have you fulfilled the characteristic of online learning? And then have you planned your online course in the online course context? Because sometimes we design our lesson in point of view of face-to-face. For example, in face-to-face, you will do this, particular procedures or particular activities. But when you come into online, it's learning. There is teaching and learning process, but it doesn't mean it representative, or let's say a replication of face-to-face now. So here you have to plan your online course in the online course context. That's it. Next, let's discuss about the content types. So when we talk about content types, what kind of content that should be put or that can be used in your online learning? There are 4 content, general contents, yeah. It can be others as an addition. So there are 4 content types. The first one is a video. Either you make the video by yourself, or whether you are going to adapt from or you are going to adopt or adapt from others' video. Don't forget to put the acknowledgement for sure and the reference, yeah, to make it academic. And then the first one, when we talk about the video, why should we choose video? Video allows you to explain the content at the same time as you demonstrate. If you using screen recording or screencastify or screencast process, means that you will explain something and then you demonstrate it, or you record yourself and then make it into a video, and then either you would like to make it available in YouTube, or you just share privately to your students, or in your learning platforms, yeah, like Moodles and so forth, means that this video provide the students, yeah, with explanation, include the contents and demonstration from the teacher, and see the face of the teacher or the instructors, for example. Next, content is slides. For the slide, you can use text and images to create classes and professional presentations. Of course, slides, similar to video, slides presentation can be recorded and then afterwards it will become a video. And the suggestion is that the slides should be PowerPoint. As you know, PowerPoint, the point is that not it's about power tags, yeah, no, avoid power tags. So you can use text and images to create content. That's it. And then afterwards, when we talk about slide as well, it provides a kind of engagement. Because sometimes slides also provide details and students need details. There are many applications or software regarding to slides, and then websites provide slides presentation template like PowerPoint, Keynote MacBook, yeah, or let's say from and then Prezi and then Canva. You can use those kind of applications. And then the next one is audio. Maybe you are familiar with podcasting. I believe some of you have heard about podcasting, and then there are times when audio alone can be very effective. For example, you are listening to storyteller telling a story, or you would like to share story to your students. Yeah, sometimes from the audio itself, it can trigger students' curiosity and then focus on the student side. And then sometimes by put audio into your classroom, or let's say into your explanations, and then it can develop interactiveness, or let's say and question and answer sessions, but in the form of podcasting. So that's a very beneficial to support online learning. And then next, when we talk about other types of content, documents is one of them. So PDF, spreadsheets, and then all documents, which you provide your students in order to master, or in order to strengthen their understanding, it become a good content. So in this case, you are expected to select the best content for your online learning. Of course, it depends on the learning objectives. Next, we are going to discuss about edit contents. When I said edit contents, mean what kind of contents that we can put into our online classroom. Of course, this is based on your syllabus and then your plan, a lesson plan, yeah, and then which activity or which content that should be put into your lesson. Either ebook distribution or ebook reading, for example, or are you going to develop a webinar using Zoom, Google Meet, and many applications? Or you are going to administer quizzes or tasks like a 5-minute quiz or 1-minute quiz. Yeah, it will, even though it's a kind of abrupt activity, but it may develop students' interest to learn in online learning and make the students alert on your class, yeah, not getting sleepy and so forth. And then maybe you administer checklists to be fulfilled by the students in order to make sure that they understand what they do, like rubric in the form of checklist. Yeah, in the form of checklist can be rubric, can be a kind of self-assessment or peer assessment using checklist as an instrument. And then the next one will be online chat. For online chat is, for example, you are going to have a discussion, and then since in the middle of discussion, you need to ask question and so forth, you can use online chat. And then the next one will be screencasting or screen recording. It can be used either as a way to as a way to develop the content, or whether you would like to use it as a project for your students. So that's a kind of edit content. And then the next one, we are going to talk about video. Why should we talk about learning video? Because recently in online learning context, mostly the media or the content put into a video, and that's why it's called a learning video. And there are three things that should be put into consideration when you are making a learning video. What are they? The first one, it should support learning and skill development. What kind of learning? For example, language learning, or what kind of skill that you are going to develop? Speaking, listening, reading or writing, or other skills. So the videos should support that. And then the next one, presenting experience. So how to engage the students into the activities. So you have to present experience for the viewers or for the audience of your video. And then the next one is maintain motivation and willing. So when you talk about designing, as we talk about designing, means that you should be very creative. Not the most creative one now, but use your creativity onto your process of developing video to support your online classroom. And of course, the video provided should be in the positive atmosphere. So good feeling is there. When the students engage in a good feeling, and then their focus and attention will be on you in your online learning. And then next, we are going to talk about learning video planning. As we know that every teacher or every instructions, educators who are going to teach will have lesson plan for the lesson. So it includes the description of the class, what kind of class is that, the objective, timetable to do that, and then teaching material, and then problems which may be faced within the classroom, and then the procedures, including the warming up, and then the leading in, and then main activities and closing. And then how do we adapt this kind of lesson planning to learning video planning? So in the learning video planning, you have to directly focus on the step-by-step activity. So you have to define a topic, and then of course it depends on the learning objectives, and then specify the video format. Are you going to make a screencast? You are going to put yourself into the screen and then your material as well? Or are you going to make it as a micro video or presenter video, role play, animation, or, sorry, this is Indonesian typing, interactive video? Or are you going to do different types of video format? It's up to you as the designer of your own online learning. And then the next one, after specifying what kind of video format that you are going to develop, and then you have to make a script and storyboard. So you have to make sure how long your video will be, starting from the opening, main activities until closing. So as what I've mentioned, your learning video planning must be following your procedures as you are writing on your lesson planning. And afterwards, you record yourself by stick to the script that you have written. many video maker or yeah, the creator of learning video do not make any kind of script or storyboard. But can you, there is a kind of positive and negative sides, yeah. Because when you talk about a well-planned script, means that you can avoid grammatical mistakes because you read the script several times, and then you try to manage everything in orderly. But if you make it as a kind of spontaneous script, or let's say without script, you just directly recording yourself without any plan, and then it wouldn't be structured well. And then afterwards, after doing this, yeah, you do recording and then editing, like annotation, animation, and then show the speaker, add some interaction. Yeah, it's up to you based on your need or the learning objectives. And then you review and iterate. And then the last one is producing, hosting, or distributing. That's about learning video planning. And then now everyone, when we have done with the learning video, and then we would like to put this learning video into an online lesson, online classroom, you need application or platforms or learning management system. So in this case, there are plenty elements, I mean, online learning platform where you can distribute or let's say execute your lesson or learning and teaching and learning activities. Herewith I offer you some examples. So online learning platform, maybe you are familiar with Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams. Here in UKI, Universitas Indonesia, we use Microsoft Teams. And then Schoologies for some school, Nearpod, and then it depends on the institutions, yeah, which learning platform use. It depends. And the kind of learning platform where you can utilize or when you can execute online learning. And then there are Moodle, maybe you've heard about Moodle, and then Frog, yeah, and so forth, Social Cast, and so forth. That's about online learning platforms. This platform provide you with many options. For example, in Google Classroom, you may have your students to distribute their work, yeah, within a kind of document, sheets or slides, and then working together, and then revising at the same time, or having a kind of forms for the checklist. Every platform has their own features, so you have to select which one is the best one or which one is the most convenient one for you. And then for Microsoft Teams, for example, I believe you have experienced this a lot for the students of English language education study program. And then, as you know, you keep the data in OneDrive, and then you use Teams as a platform, and then within the Teams you have assignment there, you have chats, you have virtual meeting at the same time, you have note, and then you have whiteboard and everything. And for Schoology and other platform also more or less providing quite similar features. And then the next one is application for virtual learning. Here are some applications for the virtual one. When I say virtual one, it refers to synchronized format. So you have Google Meet, Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp. Even though for WhatsApp only 8 participants, it is good for small class. And then Microsoft Teams. And then what about others application for virtual learning? You can use for the puzzle, you have Quizlet, Edpuzzle, and many things else. And then for about whiteboard, you share the whiteboard together like Ziteboard, Jamboard, and so forth, and OneNote even. And then what about recording yourself? You can use Screencastify or Screencast and many things. These are examples of applications for virtual learning. And for detail, maybe we will have a discussion in another time. Yeah. And then here I offer you just one example for platform, learning platform, online one. So Microsoft Team is unified communication and collaboration. So when we talk about elements of online learning, we talk about social presence, yeah, and then cognitive presence and facilitatory presence. So you see here that there is a collaboration, there is a communication, and there is also a kind of, so it support social presence. It support cognitive because there's an assignment inside, and as well as you can put sources from many kind of sources, I mean, and then afterwards for the facilitatory, you have your own step-by-step procedures into your lesson. And there are several features which can support you in developing your students, like Sway for material, I mean, for displaying your material, and then Form for checklist, for example, and for assessment, and then Office Online for working together and revising and editing and so forth, and for OneNote for keeping the note or doing note taking. These are one example. And then for the next, you have Edmodo. I believe that you have experience taking Edmodo and other online learning platforms. And then for the practice, later on, you will experience the way how to exactly implement or use or utilize the online learning platform in order to create or develop online learning experience toward the students. Well, dear audience, I think for my presentation that's all. And thank you so much for your kind attention. And that's all from me. And then now lead to question answers, I guess. Moderator, time is yours.
Okay, now we're going into the question and answer section. So if you guys have a question, you can turn on your microphone and ask directly to Miss Luanjelianawati MPD. And or maybe if you don't want to turn on your camera or maybe your microphone, you can use the chat box. You can write it down on the chat box, so I will read it for you guys. So maybe it's time for you guys to write the question. Is there any question? Anyone's anyone wants to ask some question to Miss Lulu and Juliana Wati MPD? We're waiting for the question actually. There is 37 people on this room, so I think there's a question also. So yeah.
If there is no questions, means that everything is clear, and then we can go to the practical sessions.
So there's no question. Nobody wants to ask. It's all clear.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible. Who is this?
Sorry.
Yes. So hello. Good afternoon. So yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, your voice audible now.
Okay. So my name is Edel, and I want to say, first of all, I want to say thank you for Memlu for the nice presentation, or yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you. And then my questions regarding to Memlu has mentioned that online chat that we as a teacher can communicate with our students, and also discuss about the lessons, and also give some assignment for our students. So I have experienced that some of our lectures that gave us to, I mean, like we discuss in online chat. So and then some of us have a difficult because yeah, because in the text, I mean, like if we discuss on the text context, so we have misunderstood about that. Meanwhile, if we discuss verbal, like on this way, like this way we discuss in this webinar, we got I mean, like we understand, yeah, understand more regarding to uh, online chat. So maybe I just want to ask that, Memlo, have you have a, I mean, like the solution or yeah, the solution of or tips regarding to that?
Okay, thank you for the question, Adele. Should I answer directly, moderator?
Yes, if you want.
Okay, I think it's a very nice question because as we have discussed earlier, that one of the hindrance of online learning is that the availability of communication or how to maintain communication and engagement with the students. Of course, in order to develop this engagement and interaction between the teacher and the students, there should be a communication inside, and then live chat. Well, when we talk about live chat or online chat, so it must be very selectively used. I mean this one. When should we use long chat? When should we use short chat? Or which one is suitable for short discussion? Which one is appropriate for long discussion or having a direct or let's say virtual meeting? Because as today we are not allowed to meet personally, and then social distancing is remain applicable to us, and then so in other words, the selection of the communication type. Yeah, I mean, if you find, for example, especially if you in the position of a student, you find that you have you are very confused about certain things, and then you find it's difficult to understand your lecturer's explanations, and then I suggest you to ask for, let's say, this virtual discussion or calling by phone, because everything is online now. So you can use WhatsApp chat, or let's say for the Teams, for example, you can propose to your lecturers if you find it's difficult to understand. But if the confusion in terms of wording or dictions, you can ask directly, for example, or you can verify uh, the the message sent by your lecturers. That's my suggestion. And also, first, is it if you ask me to choose which one is better, having an online chat or virtual discussion, actually we should use those two options, yeah, side by side. I mean this way. Maybe we cannot do online discussion, I mean virtual discussion all the time or every time you have questions. So it depends on kinds of problem that you face, and then a question that comes into your mind and your confusion. If it is a kind of fundamental thing and crucial things, I suggest you to have a virtual meeting, or let's say direct communication. Direct means, yeah, using telephone and so forth. And then, but if it is a kind of minor case or just a common question, or just to specify, or let's say to verify your understanding, I suggest you using online chat. But of course, one thing that should be put into consideration is that there must be verification whether the message is delivered well. For example, you get a message A, make sure back to for example, to your lecturer, and make sure whether the message is meant A. That's it. That's my suggestion, Adel. So in this case, you have to have a kind of communication, interactive communication with your lecturers.
So Kak Edel, is it clear for you?
Yes, it's clear now. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not an option or a choice. You need those two for the betterment of your lesson, Adel.
Okay, ma'am, I got it, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you Kak Edel for the question. Is there any question?
Any more questions before we move?
Yeah. So only Kak Edel who wants to ask Memlu.
Okay then, so it seems that everything is clear. Thank you so much for your attention today, all audience and participants. And then now I return back to the moderator to the next activity. Thank you so much and have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you, Memlu, for the
Yeah.
informative and interesting talk. Thank you very much for the valuable experience also. And now I want to ask you guys to open your camera because we're going to do some documentation. So I hope you guys were in a good connection so you guys can open the camera also. Let's open the camera and we can take a picture together. Maybe for the PPT, please close the PPT so we can see. Okay. Thank you, Lydia. Let's see. Let's open the camera, guys. There's a lot of us that didn't open the camera yet. You. Let's open. There is, okay. Andre, can you take a pictures of us?
Okay, of course. Wait a minute, wait a second.
Okay.
Video.
Nggak ada.
Okay, for all participants, please open your camera.
Okay, Andre, you ready?
Oh,
It's
okay.
already smile.
Okay, I count in 1, 2, 3. Okay, next page. Open your camera, guys. 1, 2, 3. Okay, done.
Right, you guys can turn off the camera again if you guys want to save the data while our webinar today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin to the next section. There is the second, we will listen to the second speakers. So the second speakers is Sir Parlindungan Pardede M. Hung, which is He's one of the lecturer in ELE study program UKI. So once again, I want to make sure that you guys have a good connection, that you can join this session until the end again. Please make sure that your microphone is mute when our invited speakers say they're inside. If you have a question regarding to the topic, please write it on the Zoom text, or maybe you can ask it directly at the end of the section. The question will be directed to the presenters also. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the second invited speakers, Sir Parlindungan Pardede M. Hum. But before that, before Sir Parlin share his experience, I'd like to read a brief introduction about his taken from his CV. So, Sir Parlindungan Pardede got his bachelor degree in English letter from University Pajajaran Bandung, Universitas Pajajaran Bandung, Indonesia, and master degree from Jakarta State University. He has been teaching English at some universities in Indonesia since 1998. And then he is served as the Dean of Faculty of Education and Teacher Training of Universitas Kristen in Indonesia in 2014 until 2018. He is now a permanent lecturer at the English Education Department of UKI. Major subject he used to teach include research methodology, language skills, and English literature. His research interests cover writing and reading skills, ICT use in learning, critical thinking in ELT, and use of literature in ELT. So that's a brief introduction about Sir Parlindungan Pardede M. Hum. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sir Parlin. For Sir Parlin, time is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Wira, for the nice introduction. And today I feel happy because I have the opportunity to share you ideas and experience in what is called blended learning. Since the topic assigned to me focuses on blended learning in practice, I call it in action. So I believe that we are going to have a very, let's say, hot discussion later, because what I would like to share is our sharing experience, because most of the audience today are also members of my class. So we are going to talk about what we do in our blended e-learning class during the semester. But before sharing about the experience in the class, I would like us to refresh our memory about blended learning concept, so that we have similar concepts in sharing the experience later. All right. So for some minutes, once again, I will start with some required concepts. By the way, is my slides visible to you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fabulous. Just a minute. Okay. The first question, actually, why the committee? I try to consider why the committee takes this topic for our seminar. And I believe this is the idea that we bother to learn about blended learning because of this. So it is very important for us to master blended learning, not just because of the pandemic actually. Learning by using technology is necessary because you know, education is a program to prepare students for the future. So if we just teach today's students as we taught yesterday, in this case, let me say, if we just teach our present students with the traditional class learning, actually at the same time, we are robbing them of their tomorrow. We are not preparing them for tomorrow. So once again, learning by employing technology is not just because we are facing COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic is not the main cause of the importance of learning using technology. We teach using technology because students need to master using technology in their life for a good future. Yeah. The second one is that why it is very essential to learn this, to learn everything actually, but in our context today, what is the essence of true learning, blended learning? Yeah, because learning is not just about getting new ideas. Getting new ideas is enough. But the most important is that we should be able to make ideas happen. That is why I think the committee, in addition to getting new ideas about new design of learning, but also emphasize on how to make the ideas happen, meaning to say we are able to implement the new learning designs. And before we start our discussion, I would like to start with a game which I hope is familiar to you all. Yeah, if you are able as a team to answer the 4 questions, you are going to get $1 million, imaginatively. Yeah. Now, what do you think about this? Anyone can get the answer? We don't have a call a friend solution for now, or 50-50. We have only asking your friend. So please discuss for some seconds. What is the focus? The focuses of blended learning. 3 of them are the focuses, but 1 is not. Which one is not? Does blended learning focus on learning with technology? Do you think so? Class? Sorry, audience? Hello?
Some of them answer C, B, D. So which one is?
Yeah. So which one do you think is the most suitable answer? Do we apply blended learning for the sake of learning with technology. Based on Ms. Loh Angela Namate's explanation, yes, we employ technology, so we learn with. In this case, technology is the medium, the tool, yeah, learning with technology, yes. Do we employ blended learning because we'd like to optimize learning, not teaching? In this case, it is the learner who should commit to learn more. The focus on learning, not teaching. Do you think so? And then B, do you think that we use blended learning, we implement blended learning for the sake of learning about technology? Do we learn about what is Edmodo, and then how it was programmed, how it is designed? And finally, do you think blended learning employ combine face-to-face and online learning? Yeah, let me answer these first questions. This is the correct answer. Yeah. So in blended learning, our focus is not learning about technology. Technology is not the focus. If you get to know the technology that we are using, that's good, but it is not essential. We are not focusing on the technology, but using the technology to facilitate learning. Next one. Yeah. Why? What motivates us? What drives us to employ blended learning? In the beginning, I told you that COVID-19 pandemic is not one of the driver. It is only another additional cost. What drives us to employ blended learning? Among the four, 3 are correct, 1 is not. Yeah, sorry, because possibly the audience are muted. Yeah, this is one of the weaknesses of virtual meeting like this. So let me just show you the answers. Yeah. So blended learning are implemented because of this, because we need of time extension and rich resources. By employing blended learning, students can get unlimited resources, also can learn anytime, and then in as much as time he or she needs. Yeah. And then blended learning is suitable for today's students because today's students are tech savvy, meaning to say they are familiar with ICT. And then blended learning is also driven by the need of personalized learning development. We are going to talk about personalized learning later. Characteristic of blended learning, except yeah, the answer is B. Blended learning makes learning more enjoyable. It enriches learning experience. And then it is appropriate to today's students' demands. But it doesn't mean that in blended learning you are free to commit or not. Yeah, just the same with the traditional class learning. In blended learning, students should also learn and study hard, work hard. Last one, benefits of blended learning. If we implement blended learning, we can get so many benefits. Here are 3 among the 4. The only one that is not the benefit is sorry, this is a mistaken. Yeah, the answer should be D. Because blended learning also develops 21st century skills: communication, critical thinking, collaboration. The answer is D, not A. All right. Oh, one more. Following are features of today's students, Generation Z. This is typical of you because all of you belong to Generation Z, those who were born between 1995 to 2010. I believe that all of you belong to these generations. Today's generations always on and attached to gadgets. Yeah, I believe that most of you are inseparable from your smartphone. Multitask and rapidly task switch. Yes, you tend to do some things at the same time. You like to read, listening to music, as well as chatting with somebody, and possibly also watch TV at the same time. So you are doing 4 things at the same time. That's typical of today's students. And easily to switch tasks. You move from one task to another, even though you haven't finished one, and then you take another, you move again to still another, something like that. And then fond of reading long printed text. This is what I find among today's students. They feel tired of reading, especially if the text is too long. And then multimedia oriented. Yes, you, today's generation, Z generations, prefer to receive information using multimedia, using picture, text, even though most of you prefer short text, brief text, yeah, brief articles. You also like to receive information from movie, from YouTube, yeah, video in YouTube. Not only like older generation, like me, possibly I prefer to read rather than watch video and then looking at pictures. Okay, so this is it. And this should be anticipated in blended learning. Ideally, the teacher or the lecturer should try to provide shorter text rather than just give the textbooks as the only resources for students. Yeah, the textbooks is important. Providing the textbooks is important, but at the same time, the teacher should also provide additional, let's say, text which is much shorter and easier to understand. if possible, video also. So the textbook is accompanied by video, possibly also with PowerPoints and many other media, yeah, rather than reading the long printed textbooks only. Okay. Now, some important conceptual. Yeah, we can compare blended learning with blended mixed fruits juice. Yeah, rather than eating a fruit only, it is better to drink mixed fruit juice, because mixed fruit juice are always easier to digest because they have been mixed, juice, blended. Taste much better. Rather than eating a mango only, it is better to drink various compatible fruits which have been juiced, because they will be taste much better and provide more complete nutrition. Yeah, many fruits will provide more complete nutrition rather than a single fruit only, and also provide beneficial compounds. So that's the idea. Rather than studying in the classroom, learning in the classroom only, it is much better if we combine the classroom learning with online learning. That's the idea. So blended learning is a combination of the best of both face-to-face and online. So there should be both face-to-face and online learning, and other applicable, practical, and compatible. Remember that the technology that we employ should be applicable, meaning to say all the participants, both students and the teacher, should be able to apply it. They should be practical, not very complicated, easy to use, and it should be compatible with the learning approaches, with the learning materials. So they are brought together to facilitate student-teacher resources interactions. Yeah, in learning, in a good learning, in effective learning, the elements of the course, that is student, teacher, and materials and resources, should interact one to another in order to create innovative and effective learning experience for students to meet the learning objectives. So there are four major characteristics of blended learning. It combines the best of face-to-face elements and online learning elements. It facilitates students, teacher, resources, interaction. It is also applicable, practical, and compatible. And then it creates innovative and effective learning experience. All right. In blended learning, there is no single mode of learning only, just like in the classroom, in which the students and teacher just interact using face-to-face communications. But in blended learning, three modes of learning are combined together. That is face-to-face, in which content and materials of the course are taught in person to a group of students. But in blended learning, once again, it is combined with self-paced learning. Yeah, in blended learning, in online learning, it is flexible. Some students may need 1 hour to finish learning a topic, but some other students may need 1.5 or even 2 hours. That's okay. As far as they are learning online, yeah, nobody can say stop, the time is up. No, you can keep on learning as long as you like to. So self-paced learning. Also, in blended learning, you can choose. You can choose what intelligence you'd like to get involved in. You know, some persons are very strong in what is it? In interpersonal intelligence. Some other is good in intrapersonal. Some others prefer math. Some other prefer learning something by doing it. So in blended learning, you are free to employ which intelligence you think you are more powerful with. And then in blended learning, there is blended learning also involves online collaborative learning. Using technology, you can collaborate, you can communicate anytime with your friends, with your teacher, as far as there is agreement for that. Yeah. Of course, it is not a good idea if you call your teachers at midnight, but you can send him or her a message, written message, no problem with that, so that he or she can reply first thing in the morning or sometimes after that. Yeah, this makes blended learning very, very effective because we blend three types of three modes of learning. Yeah. Now, since the focus of my topic is blended learning in practice, blended learning in action, I would like you to focus, to pay attention to this, that actually in order to implement, in order to make blended learning in action, we need to go through this 4 steps. Yeah. Number 1 belongs to the institutional context. If you like to employ blended learning in your institution, in your school, getting the support of the institution, the headmaster, is very important. Yeah. While step number 2, number 3, and number 4 belongs to yourself as the teacher. This is based on Bailey. Yeah. Create conditions for success, once again, in order to get institutional support. There should be vision and goals, why blended learning should be implemented in the schools. You should state that. Yeah. And then getting the institutional support for policies. The schools should support the implementation with by creating policies, should also provide financial support, infrastructure support, because blended learning cannot succeed if, let's say, there is no internet connection in the school. The school should also provide the required technologies, possibly in this case the LMS and other tools. And the school should also provide professional development for the teacher and students to employ blended learning. And there should be strategy and timeline. Okay. Planning. In this case, how should you plan your own class using blended learning? Remember that every blended learning involves curriculum, teacher, technology, students, and finally assessment. And all of them should be put in the community to make the learning effective and realistic. The first elements of blended learning is the curriculum. By curriculum, we mean that it is the blueprint, learning blueprint, which determines the objectives, the learning outcomes, the contents, resources, learning strategies, activities, procedure and schedule, media and tools, and assessment form and procedure. So that is the curriculum. Usually in in preparing our syllabus, we are also to provide this brief, yeah, so that when we hand the syllabus to the students, they are also become learning outcomes is expected, what content they should deal with, what resources they should get, and so on and so on. And then the technology. Technology refers to the learning management system. This is the main tool for blended learning. You should have an LMS, yeah. Fortunately, there are many free outsourcing LMS in the internet today. You can choose which is the most suitable to your students and to your class. The LMS integrates all learning components. You can put the you can build library, virtual classroom, contents, process, conduct the process and activities, and even archive or keep the students' assignments and also scores in the LMS. For those who have been using Edmodo, for instance, I think are familiar with this all. That you have library from which in which your lecturer keep the documents, and then you can get the documents from there. Yeah. You also discuss with your group members in the LMS. You submit your assignments or examination paper to the LMS, so the LMS integrates them all. Yeah, here are some popular LMS provided in the internet. You can once again choose which is the most suitable to your to the contents of your course, and then which do you think is will be much easier for your students to use. The students is the third member, and it is the most important factor because success is measured by students' learning achievement. If the students achieve high, that means the learning, the blended learning is successful. And to optimally participate in blended learning, students should. Here are some conditions that students should have in order to be able to succeed learning by blended learning. First of all, the students should have proper blended learning mindset. In this case, the student should realize that he should be independent in learning. He should not wait for instruction anytime. He should be proactive. That is the major features of independence. If you wait for the instructions from your lecturer, or if you wait your friends to start discussion and then you reply, that means you haven't got yet proper mindset. But you should be proactive. Start your classroom, your small group discussions without waiting for another. And then you should also try to ask your group mates to be active. Don't wait for others to do that. You should also have commitment. And then, yeah, don't wait until the last minute to do anything. Once again, you should be proactive and self-paced learning. If some other finish the assignment in 2 days, but you need 4 days, that's okay. Keep on doing, because your characteristic of learning, possibly you like slow learning, but at the same time you master everything. No problem with that, because everybody has different paced learning. Yeah. And then students should have proper ICT and internet connection. And this is one of the problem in our country that until now is not yet solved. Yeah. Many times while we are having the synchronous discussion like this, the interconnection go awry, internet connection is poor, so that sometimes we are not audible, or even we are excluded from the class. You should also, the students also be familiar with the LMS. Yeah. If in your course, in your class, you use Edmodo, make sure you are familiar how to use it in order to be able to optimally participate in the class. And then the students should be also familiar with the learning goals. Read the syllabus that your lecturer provide in the beginning of the semester. Look at the learning outcomes and what success criteria is needed so that you can fulfill it, and then you get maximum results of learning. And it is a good idea to share and to discuss the syllabus in the beginning, while and after the course over. So the students, once again, should be active in considering the syllabus. Finally, the students should receive guidance and motivation. Yes. In learning, students need motivations. Different from face-to-face classroom learning, in which students and their classmates and also the teacher can share, can interact by using non-verbal, using verbal, and so on, so that it is easier to get motivation. In blended learning, especially in the online learning stations, providing the students with guidance and then motivate them is very important. The teacher is the last element. In the traditional classroom, teacher plays a central role. Usually, the traditional classroom, face-to-face classroom, class learning is teacher-centered. But blended learning is student-centered. That is why the teacher should not be the center. He or she should be as a facilitator, as a manager, and as a supervisor. So good blending learning teacher have this characteristic. First, he or she should master the subject matter. He should be proficient in pedagogic competence. He should master ICT skills, should be proficient in online learning skills, can use the LMS, and then collaborate with colleges implementing blended learning. This is very important. By sharing ideas and experience with other friends that implement blended learning, especially those using the same LMS, is very good. Yeah, to implement, you should start with planning. You should plan by determining the learning goals. In this case, you just you can do this by creating your syllabus, because in the syllabus you should determine the learning goals, determine the final product. So number 1, number 2, number 3, number 1, number 2 belongs to the syllabus. You also should decide the learning activities that will be performed to achieve the goal. Yeah, you should make sure which activity should be done online and which activity should be done face-to-face. And then you should identify the most effective parts of the activities to be allocated in the face-to-face sessions as well as in the LMS. So make sure, yeah, what learning activities, what learning parts should be allotted in online sessions and which one should be in face-to-face. And then you should register the learning resources, yeah, put it in the LMS and facilitate that they are available or urgent to provide. Yeah, put all learning resources in the LMS and then inform the students so that they can access the resources anytime, anywhere. After planning, you should design by integrating the learning objective, content, activities, and assessment. So in this case, you need to write a syllabus for the context of blended learning so that you can integrate all of the elements of the learning, including objectives, content, activities, and assessment. Make learning activities meaningful and authentic by putting them in real-life context. As far as possible, all topics should be related to the life of the students so that they become meaningful and authentic. You should ensure that the content and assignment level of difficulty are realistic. Possibly, I think this is one of the reasons why some students find it very difficult to learn online. Maybe, once again, maybe because the assignment level is too difficult for them and unrealistic and is not in harmony with the learning content and time. And then, yeah, once again, only if the students have gotten good blended learning mindset, yeah, it is still possible that they cannot participate optimally because the content and assignment are too difficult. And then the teacher should also decide the blended model to employ. But based on my experience, flipped learning is recommended. Here is typical of flipped learning. In the first stage, in the beginning of the semester, in the beginning of each topic, the learning is better to provide online through the LMS. In this case, students get acclimated with new knowledge skills. So that the teacher or the lecturer provide the topic to discuss or to learn individually or to discuss in group, provide the material, and then provide what outcomes is expected. And then students work online. They can work individually or in small groups, because in the LMS, they are free to discuss anytime they like to. After that, the learning go into the face-to-face, yeah, in the second stage. Because, you know, here, during the online sessions, the students have got acclimated, or they have got at least the main concept of the topic provided. And then in the face-to-face discussion, they can explore and assimilate knowledge and skills by sharing what they have learned here with other friends, and then also getting more explanation for the teacher. In this case, group discussion, problem solving, debating, students' presentation, and case studies are learning activities that the class can conduct in stage 2, in the face-to-face. While in stage 1, students in the online session, students read text, watching lecture videos, listening to relevant recordings, making notes, discuss online with friends, or get online formative assessments or quiz, and so on. Those are activities in online, and then here are the activities in the face-to-face. After that, the session goes online again. Here, the students strengthen their mastery via application and evaluation. The activities they can do is doing projects. It can be individual or group, evaluating existing products. So they are assigned to evaluate certain products by employing the concept they have learned in stage 1 and in stage 2. They also can write final papers, final assignments, or taking examination and so on. When this is finished, the class can start with the new topic by doing the same stage of learning. So you see, the learning process shift from online to offline or in class, and then shift again to online and so on. Yeah, here are the common activities of in blended learning. In online activities can be reading text, listening to lecture audios, watching videos, and so on and so on. In class or face-to-face learning, they can do this. The advanced level of activities that can be done online is evaluating, presenting, and so on and so on. All right. And possibly the most important thing to note is that in blended learning is implemented by using constructivism. So in this belief, in this view, knowledge and skills are not received. You don't receive knowledge from your teacher. The teacher does not send knowledge to the learner. No. But the student should themselves construct the knowledge and the skills through interactions. In blended learning, students interact with the content, deal with the learning material. Students interact with the teacher, and the teacher also deal with the content. And then at the same time, students can interact with students. You can discuss with your friends. At the same time, teacher can also discuss with other teacher from the whole world, not only limited teacher in the same school, but teacher from other countries also, because we are facilitated by online activities. And content, because even though, just suppose your teacher provide you a textbook, but online you can search many other textbooks you can compare with. So it is a good idea, besides reading, studying the textbook provided by your lecturer, you also read some other textbooks on the same topic in order to compare it, because some textbooks are easier to understand in chapter 1, but difficult in chapter 2. It can be compensated by reading other books, which might provide easier explanation for the topic, something like that. So you see, interaction between student and student, student and content, student and teacher, teacher and content, content and content, teacher and teacher are the way how we can conduct deep and meaningful learning. The previous adults question concerning interaction through text. Yeah, don't expect to interact with your teacher only on blended learning. Don't expect that. Yes, you can ask your teacher, but you can also ask the content. Read again and again. You can also ask your friends. There are many other alternatives to do that. Yeah, don't wait only for the teacher to respond, because maybe the teacher is busy with some other things and so on and so on. Even though we should say that the teacher should prioritize serving the students, yeah, but the students should not only wait for the teacher's response. The students should be proactive to consult the content, the textbook, the video, anything, yeah. Also discuss with friends. Yeah, in blended learning, know yourself in what what intelligences you are more powerful with. Possibly you are good in interpersonal and visual. That's okay. You can. So if you are good in interpersonal discussion with your friends, if you are good in visual, watching video possibly are good techniques to learn. But if you are good in intrapersonal, reflective thinking, reading and reflection possibly is the best for you. Yeah. If you are good in verbal or linguistic, yeah, reading text is very suggested. So know yourself and combine what intelligences that you prefer to employ in learning. And blended learning facilitates that. Yeah. Okay. Blended learning in action. In my class, I use Edmodo. In the beginning of the semester, I used to prepare this. I put the syllabus in Edmodo so that the students can access that. I also include the references, the textbook, the articles. At least I provide the link where to get the resources. I also provide guidelines how to actively participate in the course. And then in every topical sessions, while learning a topic, yeah, I provide instruction to small group activities. I provide the material, I provide what to do in the discussion, and then I also provide guidelines how to present in the small group presentation. And then, yeah, I also try to motivate, to provide motivational message through WhatsApp in order to, as a complementary, yeah, because not all students can access the class, the LMS, through their phone. And usually, some students prefer to use WhatsApp to communicate. All right. Yeah. In the implementation, it is very important for you to make a list of guidelines and regulation for every students who take part in the blended learning course. So make sure they know what to do and how to participate. Orient students to ensure they are familiar with the system. Yeah. I believe that all of my students can participate, can operate at Modo because it is easy. But sorry to say, I never really checked this. This is one of my weakness. And then try out the blended learning class. Yes, I have used Edmodo for many semesters, and I try to make to evaluate, and then based on the evaluation, I try to improve the class. Yeah, I also try to get feedback. I provide survey at the end of the semester to get the response of the students, and based on the response, I try to make improvement for the next semester blended learning class. That's it. But before I stop, I would like just to refresh your memory with what we are doing in, where is it? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is my integrated skills for class. This is the LMS in which I put everything. Okay. Online, the students can discuss with other students and me freely, anytime, anywhere. This is a typical of learning new topics. So I provide the instructions, I explain, clearly what to do, and then I expect that the students can know what to do and how to finish the learning the topic. Yeah, this is the space where the students submit their assignments. Yeah, if you check this, okay. So yeah, in the midterm, for the midterm assignment, all the 24 students submitted, and they are all have been graded. You see that all of the scores are recorded here. So anytime if I need to, I can access that. Okay. Yeah, this is an example of class discussion. So I provide instruction what to do, and then I provide the materials to, this is essay writing that the students should evaluate. And here are some, it is done in small group. Yeah, here is the room of small group 4. Okay, you see, yeah, some students respond. Unfortunately, discussion between students and students are still limited. Let me say that. Yeah, only some students are very active, while the rest still keep silence. I believe the students who keep silent, who are not very yet active, are those who are not yet having good mindset of blended learning. I can say that, yeah. So why I employ Edmodo, because it is easy to use, and then it is interesting because it looks like a Facebook. You see, while you are discussing with your friends, with anyone in the class, you can just chat just like you chat in Facebook or in WhatsApp. Yeah, and then it enabled me to provide what is it? Yeah, to provide assignment, to provide what is it? Assignment, also library. I can easily share links, and then Edmodo can be accessed through smartphone also. So you can join the class using smartphone. That is some of the basic reasons I use this, and I believe it is very effective to use this. As far as the teacher and the students have good mindset of blended learning. And by using this, I believe that blended learning can be successful. Okay, Vera, that's all, and thank you. The mic is yours again, Vera.
Okay, thank you, Sir Parlin. Maybe now we're jumping to question and answer section. So if you guys have a question you want to ask directly, it's okay. If you guys want to ask directly to Sir Parlin, you guys can open your camera or maybe just open your microphone and ask directly. Or if you don't want to ask directly, you guys can put your question in the chat box so I can read it for you guys. So it's time for you guys to ask Sir Parlin.
Well, many of you joined my class at Modu. I think this is a good opportunity to share ideas. If you happen to find any problem or difficulties, to make it clear so that we can learn better in the future. You say that in every learning, actually the students don't receive the knowledge and skills from somebody else, but the students should construct the knowledge and skills by him or herself through interactions. A good interactions should be between more than one. It is not one way, but two ways. Yeah. So I don't think that if you keep silent, it is a good interaction. Except that you are interacting with the materials, the content. You are interacting with the book. Yeah. You don't need to speak. You just read and then provide it mark and so on and so on. But in a seminar like this, yeah, interaction should be two-way communication. So come on, this is a very good opportunity for us to share ideas and experience, at least to make our learning in online learning much better. Come on, feel free to ask anything related to blended or online learning. Come on,
Hello,
class.
sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So
Yep.
yeah. So I'm Adele.
Yeah.
So yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you for your presentations, and then I just want to make sure that are we in this situation use I mean like implement blended learning or online learning, because as I thought that blended learning something like I mean like it makes a traditional classroom then mixed with online learning. So and then for online learning, I uh, as I know that 100% we use virtual meeting, and then because we right now I think a year use virtual meeting, something like that. So yeah, I just want to make sure about both of them.
Okay. Good questions, Adele. Knowledge keeps on developing. So blended learning also develops. Conventionally, blended learning refers to the combination of face-to-face classroom learning and online learning. Just before the pandemic outbreak, that is the only concept, the only definition of blended learning. But after the pandemic, in which people are prohibited to get face-to-face classroom learning, blended learning develops, it evolves. Yeah, it evolves. Now it is blended learning also refers to the combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning through online facility. Synchronous learning refers to the learning session in which the audience, the teacher and the students meet from different places, but they can see each other face to face through the virtual meeting facility, just like what we are having now. This is synchronous. We meet at the same time, in the same place, in the same, in the same site, in the same virtual place. The same time, in the same virtual place, from different natural location. While asynchronous is when the students and teacher interact through online in different places, from different places, in different time, just like what we do in Edmodo. It is asynchronous because you can put your questions or your reply to someone else's questions anytime you'd love to. You can answer a question, for instance, today, but if you are still considering it, you can postpone it until tomorrow. No problem with that, because it is asynchronous. But in synchronous, the time is limited because you should meet, you should interact at the same time with limited time. Yeah, that's it. So once again, blended learning refers to two types. First, the conventional blended learning is when face-to-face classroom learning is combined with online learning. The second definition, the second type of blended learning is when asynchronous learning is combined with synchronous learning. This is called, this is more popularly called with blended e-learning, while blended learning refers to the conventional one, in which face-to-face is combined with online learning. Okay, Adele, I expect that my answer, my explanation answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Kak Adel, for the good question, and thank you, Sir Parlin, for answering Kak Adel's question. So, guys, any one of you wants to share also your experience, maybe on the online learning, maybe like that?
Just a minute. I believe that Adel is the one that learned the most today, because he's the only one who asked questions to the first sessions and to the second. Other students, I believe you can do the same. Just ask, because you know, when you ask questions, actually you are learning as well as teaching others. When you are trying to formulate your questions, you are trying to use your English. So you are learning in communicating at the same time. And it also, you also at the same time teach your friends, teach other audience, because other audience also got the answer to the questions. So those who are active in asking and answering questions are the most blessed. Orang yang diberkati. So before, if you don't ask questions, you got less blessing. Yang nggak bertanya kurang berkatnya.
Okay. So any one of you guys want to ask a question?
Anyone want to get more blessing? That is the question. Come on.
Yeah, one more, sir.
One
Go.
more.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Sir, maybe I want to share my experience, sir.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Andreas.
Yeah, my name is Andreas Yobel, and I want to share my experience during the online learning. So I feel the different before the pandemic and after the pandemic. Yep. as we know that before the pandemic, maybe we just only do the synchronous learning, but now it's a new insight for us to do the unsynchronous learning, so it become blended learning. And I think it's a good way for us if we do the blended learning, so we can improve our knowledge more than before. And I think if we combine the synchronous and unsynchronous, it will be better. I think that's from me, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you are correct, Andreas. Synchronous and asynchronous and complete each other, because there are some learning activities we can conduct the best asynchronously. In this case, when you are trying to understand new concepts, you start reading the text. Also, possibly if you have relevant video, you watch the video, and then you try to study them. And when you are getting new concepts, you have automatically, you will have questions. Yeah, you are not sure, is this correct? Is this acceptable? Something like that. So you can ask your friends about that. What do you think about this? According to me, this is the what the theory says. And then your answer, your friends who are also learning the same thing will provide their experience. So you share. That will strengthen each other. That is very effectively done in asynchronous, discussing through the LMS. But when you are trying to, let's say, to apply the concept you have learned, it is better to do that synchronously. Just like for those who are attending my integrated skills 4, while writing the essay, the concept of essay, the theory of what an introductory paragraph should have, what is thesis sentence, how to do it, how to create it. You can do it asynchronously. You learn the textbook, you discuss the concept with your friends. But when you are practicing writing an essay, it is a good idea to discuss it, whether your introductory paragraph is appropriate or not, whether the topic sentence of your body paragraph is acceptable or not. It is much better to do it in the synchronous class. So once again, you are correct. Online learning is most effectively done if we combine both asynchronous and synchronous learning. That means since they are most effectively done by you using asynchronous and synchronous, you should be active in attending, in doing the activities in both. The problem is many students are still reluctant to be active asynchronously and are not active in synchronous like this. They just listen and keep quiet. That means they are not active in synchronous sessions. We are having a synchronous session now, and sorry to say, this is only to motivate you. You should try to, anytime you attend seminar like this, at least you should participate by asking at least one questions. To be able to address a good questions, you should pay attention to the presentations. Only by doing that, you'll get the advantage of attending a seminar. And I believe all of you can do it. The question is, are you willing? Are you there to get the challenge or not? Okay, Wira, in order not to let me present another topic by talking too much, return to the moderator.
Okay, sir. So, guys, is there any more question? But before to do some question and answer again, I want to remind you guys to do the present list that already sent in the chat box. So don't forget to check the present list to make sure that you guys are present today. So is there any more question or
Wira,
yes?
can I ask someone else to ask questions?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, all right. Chandeni.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah. Should I ask you a question or you ask me one question?
Oh, I think I will ask you the question, sir.
Okay, good.
Okay. At first, I'm sorry, sir, because I'm actually really nervous to ask question because I know that there are
No need to. Be
yeah.
feel easy. Take it easy.
Okay, sir. Okay, so my question is as in my experience from all the lecturers in Uki, I think you are the only one who implement the synchronous and asynchronous lesson in the lesson plan. So in my experience, aside from the more time to learn when we in asynchronous learning, also I think in this online situation it gives us what does it say? I mean, because all the online class require us to always stand in front of the screen. I think for my experience, it gives me I mean, I have a pain in my eyes, so I think that's also one of the benefit of implementing asynchronous class, and also for having too much and too long in front of the screen, I think it's bad for our health. So well, my question is why is the other lecturers didn't do the same, or is it is it not a part of the learning management system, sir? Okay, that's it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good, very good questions. Yeah, effective online learning should be actually a blended one. As you experience, it will be very hard. Also, will cause eye strains if we keep on looking at our monitor. Yeah, that's true. And online learning, an ideal online learning is not just shifting or moving the class from the real classroom to online. In this case, okay, this is the link of sorry. This is our class, and then we should meet every Monday at 8 up to 10:30. Be online, and then the lecturer provide, let's say, lectures and then some discussion, and that's all. And then in the next week, you do the same again. That's actually only shifting from the face-to-face traditional class into online. And it is not a good substitute, because in this case, you miss the students and the teachers, miss the important element of non-verbal and as well as the psychological interaction between the student and the teacher, because both non-verbal and psychological interaction are very hard to do online, while in the traditional face-to-face class, we can get plenty of them. That is why an online synchronous learning session is not an ideal substitute of face-to-face. To help us to accommodate what is lost, that is why we need to add the synchronous class to the asynchronous class, in which the students and the teachers can have long time, flexible time, yeah, to do the rest part of the learning. Yeah. In order to avoid your eyes from strain because of looking at the laptop monitor or computer monitor too much, actually in asynchronous learning, you can print the textbook, or let's say, yeah, the material, and then you can read it in print rather than read or do everything online. It will enable you to avoid eye strains. So yes, once again, I mean to say that blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning is the best for online learning. Why other lecturers do not employ or apply the same, you should ask them, not me. Sorry, I cannot answer that, but possibly you can answer our Kaprodi, Pak Henrikus, for that, yeah. Why other lecturers only apply synchronous? Because, yeah, once again, it is not very effective. The ideal one is the blend e-learning. Okay, Chandani, I hope I answer your questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. The next, Iin.
Yes, sir.
Are you okay today?
I'm okay, sir.
Should I ask you a question or you ask me a question?
I want to ask
okay. Yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
First of all, thank you, sir, for your informing us about the blended learning as well. Like Chandani said before, we have in online class and blended learning. So my question is, we have using Edmodo with actually with you. So what do you recommend it with the similar application like Edmodo, sir? Because the other lecturer using the different application, maybe they yeah, like Teams, because in Edmodo we can make a quiz and then others, but in Teams we cannot like make a quiz. We must make quizzes like quizzes or Kahoot and others. I think that's also.
Yeah. Actually, this question should be addressed to our department. Yeah. Yeah. some years ago, I started using Teams, Google Classroom, and then also I tried to use Edmodo. And it seems to me Edmodo is the most suitable, at least in my classes. I don't know whether in speaking class, I don't know, but also we can accommodate speaking class in Edmodo, because in Edmodo we can share the links of videos. We can even share videos there. Yeah, but based on my experience among some LMS provided in the internet, Edmodo is the most suitable for me, and it is very easy to operate. Let's say that, yeah. By having an easy LMS to operate, I hope that the students will not find any difficulties in participating. That is my expectations, yeah. And that is the reason why I employ Edmodo. Even to UKI, to Biro Teknologi Pendidikan, I also suggest let's try to design UKI's LMS by taking some good features from Edmodo, and they are doing it now. Yeah, I hope that every class in UKI will employ the LMS, which to some extent looks like Edmodo in the near future, so that every class will have the same, will have similar portfolio for the online class. That's what I can say.
Oh yeah, yes, sir. And I agree with you, sir, because with Edmodo, we can make a small class, so we can look at the process of the students.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And the last one maybe from Fawuni. Hello, Fawuni. Are you here? Oh, it's almost 3:47 in my laptop now, so we have only around 12 more minutes. Okay, I guess that's enough from me, Miss Wira. I return the mic to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Partlin, and also thank you for answering all the questions. Thank you for the informative and interesting talk, and also the valuable experiences. And now maybe the committee can share the PPT and slide.
Yeah.
Okay, but before that, I want to remind you guys that about the certificate. Please join the group. But if you guys didn't join the group yet, please ask the committee for the certificate. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, now we're jumping to the end of our event today. But before that, we will listen to the closing words from the supervisor of ELE, Memlu. Are you still here, Memlu?
Well, good afternoon. Yes, unfortunately, I'm outside, but it's fine. I'm on my car. Could you please close the share screen?
Okay, right.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. In this webinar, we have learned a lot and we have shared a lot and discussed a lot regarding to the process of or how to design an online learning. So when we talk about online learning, yeah, we talk about design of a class and how to make a good class in the context of online learning. So in this case, when we talk about online learning, it can be in three formats. The first one is synchronous, and then asynchronous, and then blend, or sometimes it's called hybrid. By combine both synchronous and asynchronous. Well, actually, before I have my closing words, actually, I would like to add some ideas because seems that the students not yet understand very clearly about synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means you do it real time. Meanwhile, asynchronous means you can access, or you may have an access, or let's say come into the assignment, or let's say do your assignment and so forth in your own time. So in this case, all learning platforms actually provide that, but which one is the most convenient one? It depends on the users. So maybe some lecturers assume that, let's say, Teams provided by institution, and then it is supported by many features, but the utilization of the features, it depends on the users. I mean, let's say, for example, here is the lecturers, whether the lecturers can optimize using the Teams, the features on Teams or not, combining, let's say, forms to provide you with quiz and so forth. It depends on the that's it, as what I mentioned previously. It depends on the needs, and as well as the way how the users utilize the platform. That's it. And afterwards, when we talk about other online learning platforms, there are many features provided. Assignment is there, and then chatting is there, and then whether a virtual meeting or, let's say, synchronous options. I give you example, maybe a Google Classroom or Teams provide you with virtual, the possibility to have virtual meeting. It's real time, so it's synchronous. For the asynchronous one, maybe you have an assignment and then you have to do the assignment online, or you have access the assignment or the task offered by your lecturers anytime in your own or the best or the convenient time for you, or the place for you to do your task or assignment. That's example of asynchronous. So all platforms provide you with synchronous and asynchronous, but which one is the dominant? It depends on the lecturers, of course. So, and of course, it depends also to the learning objectives. And this is just my additional comment regarding to the students' question just now, and ideas, or even curiosity about why there are various language platform utilized by lecturers. Because as you know, it depends on the learning objectives and convenience, because not yet assigned for the institutional learning platforms. So hopefully the LMS will be assigned soon, and then you will find that synchronous, asynchronous, as well as or even the hybrid one, or the blend between synchronous and asynchronous, can be done at once in the platform. That's it. Hopefully all of you can get benefits and new insights regarding to online learning, and we do hope that you can participate in other webinars organized by the Students Association of English Language Education Study Program, and hope you enjoy the activity, and willing to join again with different topic and of course much more interesting and the continuation even of this webinar. Thank you so much. I return back to the moderator. Thank you for the time. Good luck and have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lu, for the closing words. And everyone, before we end our webinar today, it's gonna be so good if we end it with a closing prayer. So the closing prayer will be led by Kadona. Kadona, are you here?
Yes, Vira, I am here.
Okay, time is yours to lead the closing prayer.
Okay, thank you, Vira. Well, friends, before we end our event today, let me lead the prayer with Christian way. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we say thank you because you still bless us at the beginning of our event until finish. God, hopefully what the speaker shares to us can be useful for our learning journey. We also pray for the speakers. Please bless them and and also committee. In the name of Jesus Christ, we praise now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kadona, for lead our closing prayer. And thank you, everyone, for coming to this webinar. See you into the next event. There's a lot of event that we will be meet later on. So see you guys. Thank you for coming.
Bye. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sir Pauline.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
committee.
Thank you.
Thank you all audience and participants.
Sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ira. Good job.
Thank you, Kak Iin. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.